Yo, what's up, you guys? Happy new week. All right, so in this video, I am going over exactly how to buy a car in your business name so it does not show up on your personal. This is like been a big thing. Some of you guys might have seen it. I documented it about a year ago now, as to exactly how I did it. But in this video, I'm gonna give you a true breakdown, exactly how I did it, what your profile should look like, and every data point that you need to know prior to applying. And don't make the mistakes that thousands of other people are making out there. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Marco Phillips. I do everything from credit, funding, and real estate. And financial literacy has just been a huge saver for me. So I document all my processes, my journey, and I hope you guys find value in this. And with that said, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so here we go. How to buy a car in your business's name, okay, the right way. I don't know if there's any one specific right way, but this over and over again has worked out for myself and my clients. So I'm going to share this with you guys, all right? Let's jump right into it. All right, let's bring this down here first. So this is within screen. Okay, boom, let's jump right in. The first things I want to take a look at, you guys always know I'm huge on this. You want to have a solid credit profile, okay? A solid credit profile. Let's suggest this properly. Why a solid credit profile? Because the credit profile, depending on who you are getting the loan from, okay, depending on who you're getting the loan from, what they really care to see is, one, if you had a vehicle in your name prior, okay? If you had a vehicle in your name prior, that's the first thing. The second thing they want to ensure that you do is ensure that, make sure this mic is on here very well. All right. So do you have a solid credit profile? Have you had a car in your personal name before? And two, are you able to have your debt to income ratio intact when it comes to their repayment, right? What they really care about is their risk assessment score. That's all this whole credit profile is, blah blah blah, anyway, right? In the first place, one aspect to it, right? When it comes to the bank actually getting you the money in order for you to buy this thing, okay? They're looking at the risk ratio of you defaulting, and if it's really high, they'll give you a really large amount. And if it's really low, they'll give you a larger amount because their risk ratio is low. But if their risk assessment for the profile is really high, they'll give you stipulations, maybe down payment, and all this extra stuff, okay? So the first thing you want to ensure that you have is a solid credit profile. So like, what does a solid credit profile look like then, right? So this is the first thing that we need. How can we ensure we get a solid credit profile? When it comes to this, here's some tips in which I would give in the short time that we have here. Number one, let's put in A. Move this over here. On the solid credit profile, I'll just say no derogatories. No derogatory account. No derogatory accounts. So derogatory accounts mean anything that's reporting either a late payment, collection accounts, anything that's reporting negative on your credit is just a no-no, right? So the simplest way is just, hey, ensure there's no derogatory accounts is the first thing. The second thing I want to do is, do we have comparables? Solid credit profile. So comparables. If you possibly had a card credit, right? Because card credit is really different from like the FICO model in which that they use. Typically, they'll use a FICO 8 for anything that is a credit card or anything of that nature, revolving account. But depending on the lender, they might use like a FICO 2 or FICO 3 for your auto credit, right? So they want to see, are there any comparables prior, right? Are there any comparables prior? If you already had a vehicle loan on your profile, on your credit profile, and the chances of you getting another vehicle loan is super high, like super high, especially if that account was like paid satisfactory and all that. That's a huge hack. Now, let me just be honest and transparent here. Do people get like, can you buy this? Like, can you buy a an auto like a paid off auto account on your credit profile. Yes, I know people that have in the past, right? So there's a hack there, right? If you guys like want more information as to that, feel free to DM me. I might know some people that might point you in the right direction. We're not gonna put that on here just like that. All right. So anyway, long story short, comparables is where it's at. So how those comparables work is, say for example, you're making, let's say you're making 40 to like 60K a month, a year, right? And or 120. It doesn't really matter what you're making a year, right? And how, but this is the first time which you're gonna go buy a car, and maybe you've saved up, a large amount for your down payment, and you're about to be like, yo, I want to buy my dream car, but you've never had a car in your name before. Okay, matter of fact, I'm gonna just share this true story. This is one of my close friends. Some of you guys might know him. In Philly, he runs. Okay, I don't want to give his. I don't want to. I don't want to divulge too much information. One of my close friends, right? So here's the situation. He has a lot of. He's very liquid, meaning he has a lot of cash. He wanted to buy his dream car. Okay, and going to go buy his dream car, he's never had. He doesn't have like any credit, right? He's always had money. So when he wants to go buy his dream car is like 230,000, right? Like a Lambo. And he'll go in there and they'll be like, oh, he'll be like, yeah, I'll put down like 150K. Oh, they'll be like, no, we can't finance it. And he's always getting confused, like, Marco, like, what the hell is going on here? I'm like, bro, your profile has no comparables. So to them, even if you're dropping, like, even if it's 250, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna drop 200, they're not gonna give it to you because the risk accessibility, like, yo, this guy would just take this car and run, because there's nothing for them, comparables, quote unquote, for them to be able to do that with, to me, which is absolutely nuts. I don't understand why someone would put down 200, but that's how they function. So what can I do around here? What's the hack? I'm like, dude, you need to get a comparable on your account, point blank, period. Or get someone else to finance this car, and you be the co-signer, so you'd be on both of you guys' credit. And then as soon as you can, obviously they will approve you. Someone that has a comparable, right? They will approve you as the co-signer on there. Now that Lambo is going to be showing up on your credit profile, and because that is showing up on your credit profile, the next thing that you want to go do, they would easily give that to you. Why? Because now you have a comparable on your credit, right? So like the solution there was to either, one, get an auto trade line, two, get a co-signer on me, pretty much, meaning someone else be a primary and he'd be a secondary, and then from there, handle the loan that way. Those were really like his best two options in that scenario. So that's the power of comparables, you guys, because you got to understand, like, all they're thinking of is how to de-risk and get their money back, right? Okay, cool. And another thing, some of you guys might be thinking about this, like, wait, how is this? Why am I dropping my personal if this is on my business, right? Except you really have like an established business, you guys, meaning it's over 2 years old, and or you've built up your auto score, you've built up your Dun & Bradstreet. Some of you guys that are going that Dun & Bradstreet route, you've had like all this other stuff built up on your business profile. They're going to ask you to PG it, okay? Except you're going for a specific car. Some specific cars, like I think it was like Ford Motor Company and maybe Toyota. All you really need is to really build out your paydex score. Have like 5 to 10 or 20 accounts, and they will actually give you that car without any PG. In my personal experience, it's a super long route. If you're not planning on, like, if you're not wanting to go that long route, wait 60, 90 days, 120 days, to go from tier to tier to tier, and you're not planning on defrauding the banks anyway, just PG it in your business name, and down the line just sell it 100% to your business, remove your liability, and you're good, right? And more importantly, if it's your business that's the primary on the profile and you're the secondary, and you do this right, it's not going to show up on your personal report, on your personal credit profile anyway. Now, the PG means your personal guarantee, the liability and the responsibility still falls on you, but this is for your business. So to me, it was all good. Like I didn't, I didn't have to like wait and do all of this extra stuff. Like, bro, what's the fastest, shortest way to do it? Sometimes the fastest and shortest way might not be, or the shortest way might not be the fastest way, but in this case, both things check out, right? So that's really, really key. And sorry, so we got the comparables, no derogatory accounts, comparables. So let me just give some basic stats on here. Ideally, like if you want to get a low interest rate, 700 plus credit score is when where you want to be. 680 and above is typically ideal. If you have a mortgage on your account, that's another that's like a house, right? So if you have a mortgage, like they know you're not going anywhere. You're not going to run away with their stuff. 700 credit score, a mortgage. If you have other installment accounts, right? Installments account. Now, this is just good practice to have on your profile, regardless of what you're looking to acquire anyway, okay? No derogatories, and your age of accounts is also really good, right? If you don't have a mortgage, that's fine. If you're renting, it's totally cool. Installment accounts, like this is just general good practice, right? You have a good mix. Let me just bracket all of this. A good mix, okay? Good mix of accounts. Okay, so let's say we've got that part down. Okay, cool. We have a solid credit profile. Okay, perfect. All right. What's the next thing that we want to do in order to ensure this? Let's jump into, why did I start here? Let's jump into the car itself. Okay, let's jump into the financing itself. Let's jump into the money. Why did I start with this solid credit profile part? Because once you have a solid credit profile, you guys, let me see, okay. Once you have a solid credit profile, the next thing is to get your financing, okay? Your financing. In my personal experience, y'all, financing, and this is as of 2023, that might change. And in getting your financing for the car, let's talk about this. This is huge. This is where a lot of people mess up, right? Just because we're not taught, or we might have just seen like really poor examples of how to finance anything. So with financing, typically you want to go directly to who is getting the money, okay? In financing, we're going to go directly to the banks or credit union. Banks or credit union. Why? Do not go to the car lot for your financing, okay? You're going to run your credit to the highest bidder and the most points in which they can get to finance. That's just the nature of the business, okay? Go to the banks or your credit union, okay? My recommendation as of today, in which I've seen personally and for my clients, is that's really good for your business, is Bank of America. And you guys know I'm huge on credit unions, but the best play in which I've seen so far when it comes to financing for vehicles is Bank of America on your business name. Why? They have this thing in your system where you can actually get up to 4 cars with one LLC. Okay, so for all my guys that run Turo or that run any car plays, here's a big one. Huge. Okay, so what happens here is once you have your business established, obviously, you have all that stuff. Okay, you have a solid business on paper, right? We're not talking about like setting up your LLC here. We're talking about like you already have all that thing set up. Boom, I want to get a car in my business name. Okay, cool. bar none, the best I've found so far with this play is financing through Bank of America. You can just Google Bank of America commercial auto, right? And their portal comes up where you can actually apply directly. Okay. Once you apply directly and you have good comparables, chances are more than likely you're going to get approved. Okay. Now, once you've been approved, then you take your pre-approval amount. There's a letter in which they're going to give to you. Okay. They're going to give you, there's this letter inside your portal. Inside the portal, once you apply, you get approved. They go back and forth. It might take a few days, just depending on how many people are working, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. You get your approval, the approval letter. There is that approval letter that you have, that's for you. But there's a separate pre-approval letter that you get from them to take to the dealership to go pick up the car that you want. So now you'd be like, wait, how do I know the car that I want if I don't know the car that I want? So here's the thing to do with that. Okay, even while you're applying for that Bank of America play, you're going to need a VIN number. You're going to need a VIN number for a specific kind of car that you're looking for. Okay, you're going to need a VIN number for the specific kind of car that you're looking for. All right, so how do you find a VIN number? Okay, how do you find a VIN number? You can go to was it auto, honestly, just Google. You could Google this. You can go to Auto Trader. What is this other one that sells like a vending machine? It sells the cars in like a vending machine thing. Carvana. Just look up any auto, look up the name of your car. Let's say you're looking for a let's say you're going for a Benz, right? Look up the type of car that you want and just Google it and type in for sale on the back end. Let's say let's go with a Mercedes-Benz, and let's say you're going for a S-Class 2022 for sale, right? You can literally just type that in Google and you're going to see all of these dealerships around you. Maybe they might have that specific car, right? Caravan, not as Carvana. They might have that specific car, and then in their lot or for sale or online somewhere, and then use that VIN number, because that VIN number is that's what they're going to need on their back end to look up a similar car of that nature. Okay, to look up the value, if it's brand new, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then use that to give you the pre-approval for the finance amount. The VIN number is going to tell them all the information that they need in order for them to be able to finance that car based on the credit profile that you have, which we talked about in number 1. Okay. That's how that financing process on the back end works. The underwriter is going to do their thing. They'll be like, okay, cool. You're pre-approved for, let's say, 80,000, right? Based on that VIN number, that's the car value that they have. Okay. That's very, 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 very key. Okay, cool. Once you have your VIN, you put it in inside of that portal when you guys go back and forth. Okay. And then you then take your, I'm pulling this up. I'm a little, just to ensure like this is clean for my eyes and easy to read. All right, cool. And then once you take that, you're going to take that as to the dealership to pick up your car. So we go to Bank of America, we apply, and during applying, we add our VIN number so they know exactly what car we're looking for, so they can really know like the value of the car which we're looking for. Okay. And then now we will go, and sometimes you might actually not need the VIN number if you have a comparable inside of your credit already. But we just say you don't in this example, so anyone can really do this. Okay, now you take that. Actually, that'll be another section. We're gonna take this. Let's go with section 3. We're gonna take that pre-approval letter and go pick up the car at the dealership. Okay. Let's go with 3. Go to dealership. Go to dealership. Okay. All right. Now, when you go to the dealership, this part is crucial. Okay. Because if you're the first time, it was my first time going to the dealership. Okay. They would still try to play you. Okay. They would, trust me, they would still try to play you. I played along like I didn't know the process already, just to see how they would do to like a regular consumer who's not fully educated on financially literate just yet. And they would play you because they don't expect people to know this type of information. They don't expect to know, like, the regular person will go in and do the financing right there and all that stuff. Spend hours and hours at the dealership and quote unquote their back end financing is trying to find you a good deal. And now you have to put down $5,000 on this car in order to do this and do this bull-ish. Listen, let me tell you, no, you do not. You do not need to do any of that. First and foremost, I don't want to go on that whole rabbit hole. First and foremost, it's a installment. It's a credit installment contract in which you're signing. That's a whole different thing. But here are the do's and don'ts. Once you know the car that you want, okay, do not allow them pull your credit. Do not allow them re-pull your credit. Speaking from experience here. Re-pull your credit. Tell them you already have your pre-approval and your pre-approval amount. Your pre-approval and amount, and you want to pick up the car. Okay. And point blank period. They're going to try to play you like you just learn this and apply it and go through this process. So very, very simple. When you go in, you just be like, hey, listen, hey, I'm pre-approved for XYZ. Some people actually don't even go in at all. They just do all of this stuff online, like either Carvana or any other place, and just drop off the car and just send them the paperwork back and forth. So you don't even need to, like, for me, I wanted to actually go see the car in person. But if you don't care about all that, you can like just do all of this online. But for me, I wanted to go see the car, drive the car, test drive the car. Like, okay, cool, I'm taking this one, you know, fits the budget, I like how it feels, blah 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 blah. All right. So do's and don'ts: do not allow them re-pull your credit because you already have your approval. And then number 2, since you already have your pre-approval, you come in there to pick up the car, you're not negotiating any financing. The financing's already done. Okay, you're not renegotiating any financing. The financing's already done. You have your pre-approval with BOA or anyone. If you even find it cheaper, you can get your pre-approval. There was one recently that was like, it was a credit union, and they actually beat BOA pricing, but that was like specific to that state. With I think it went down to like, BOA was like a 3.99 or 4.99, and then one beat it to like 2.99 or 1.99 for like the 5-year term. All right, so you can definitely shop around to find one, like, you know, they're down to make it on your business name and you as the, you know, co-signer, and not showing up on your credit report, and then they could beat that pricing. That's very vital. Something to understand when you go to a dealership is that you are the prize. Like, the frame control is very, very different. Like you want to set the frame, okay? Set the frame. Set the frame because you are the prize. They want that pre-approval. They need to move that inventory. And so set the frame. Don't be rude, but set the frame like, hey, this is exactly what I want. I'm looking to test drive X, Y, and Z. And here are my terms in simple layman terms. Like you want to go in there like the boss that you are. Okay. And that is very vital. I can't state that like because once they know they can't mess with you, like they just like, all right, cool. This one, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they want. And here's exactly how that's gonna go. All right. So number 3, because they want to make the sale. The salesman wants to make the sale. A lot of salesmen, they might not be financially literate as well. They might not know the back end, like the financing of all of this stuff, which is the really main thing. And the car is just the collateral, in the first place. So they might not understand, but that's not for you to do their job. It's their job for them to do it. They just been trained a certain way, in order to do what they do. All right, so when you go to the dealership, do not then repull your credit. Okay, cool. You're the prize. You know exactly what you want, and the cars that you want to pre-approve. And then when it comes to like signing the paperwork and all that stuff, just double check and ensure like everything matches from your pre-approval letter to you exiting. Okay, so that's I mean, they'll also ensure that, but we just get to when we set the frame, like, okay, cool, everything matches from what you're getting from Bank of America to whatever they have on that paper, and to ensure like everything goes smoothly on their end. So you make it like super, like when I came in there, the guy was like, man, like I'm like, I know. How did you know? Listen, I did my homework prior to coming here. This is just, I'm just, it's like you've studied for an exam or a test, and you've taken the pre-test, so you kind of know what's on the test. And you just come in there to like, I'm just here to close, pretty much. And yeah, so ensure all paperwork match. Paperwork match. And also like your insurance, have all that stuff. Have your insurance, if you know like the VIN of the car, once you test drive the car, like this matches, like, hey, what's that VIN number? Right? So get your insurance, get your license, all that stuff, call them, get your insurance code. You come in there, just like, man, like this person is like, they'll be happy because they're like, man, like you're like, you know exactly what to do, you know exactly how this works. You making my job so much easier. You spend way less time in there. I was in and out in like maybe like 2 hours max. Like and they went to like wash the car, detail it, including all of that stuff. So that's really the basics. The main things most people are going to struggle with right here is, 1, the solid credit profile, and number 2, the financing. Once you have this financing down pat, the rest is really easy. I'll go over this when you go in there. Don't allow them to try to bully you or whatever. Know exactly the paperwork. You can even see some of the paperwork before you go in, right? Like you do your homework, and you're set. So this financing part, this is the biggest part that allows us not to have this show up on our personal credit report. And why do you want to have this car in your business name anyway? Because since they're going to go off of the debt to income ratio, right? You can have as many cars in your business name as you want, right? Especially for us entrepreneurs, like all of this stuff should be a write-off, right? In the first place, because we're the ones that, small businesses pretty much run America, right? So like, have the car in your business name, so like when it comes to any other thing, tax time, blah blah blah, all that stuff, all that mileage is done properly. Also, you can then leverage your credit really, really well, because you're not stuck with like, oh man, like, okay, this person only makes like 100K a year. They can have more than like 2 cars and a mortgage, right? Now you can finesse and really, really play around with things, because now your business is working exactly as is working for your business, and your personal is working exactly for your personal. You can have one personal on your car, so you can always have that comparable, paid off or almost paid off, and then as much as you want on your business. All right, on your business thing that's not showing up on your personal, even if you PG'd it. All right, meaning personal guarantee. All right, so that is those are the essentials to really have down packed. The biggest part again is this financing area. Make sure you have the select credit profile. If you don't, repair it prior to going to get your financing for the car. So let's do a recap. Okay, so number one, solid credit profile, no derogatory on the accounts. Ensure you have a comparable. If you don't have a comparable, ensure like your profile is solid, meaning you maybe have other installment loans. Yes, it's going to be a different FICO score, typically like a FICO 2 or 3 for your auto credit, depending on who they're pulling from. If you don't have a comparable, maybe start with a starter car, right? Maybe it's you start with like a 30 or 40K car, right? The max in which they can get if you don't have a comparable or don't want to get a comparable, okay? And then that'll be the first starter car, right? But if you want like, so how the car thing really works is they kind of like give you increases like 2x the amount that you currently have based on your credit profile. So if you had a car before, it would be like, if you had a car prior, let's say your starter car was like 30 or 40K or maybe even 20K. The next time you want to go apply, they'll give you like 40K or 60K if it was basically if it was a 20 or 30. And the next time you go apply, they'll give you maybe like a 90 or 120, and that's how they just keep doubling it typically, right? So that's why that comparable being on there, say it was like a 40K auto revolving showing paid off or almost paid off. When you go apply next, they'll give you like 80 or 90. So like a lot of guys, if you see a lot of entrepreneurs that are ballers, quote unquote, they're getting like all these Lambos and all this stuff. So the trick behind there is the sauce behind there is, and it being your first car and not having to drop all this money down is have a large comparable. They might have like 2 comparables. Get like some auto trade lines on the credit profile. Once they get those trade lines on the credit profile appears to be like he already has like 100K car before. Now they can give them like a 200K car, right? Maybe they have like 3 of those, right? Now you can easily see why they'll give them with like no money down. Speaking of this financing, once you get this financing part down packed, right, and you have your pre-approval, do not allow the dealership to tell you have to put any money down. You do not have to put any money down after you're being pre-approved. Listen, let me put, this is huge. I'm glad we did a recap, yo. Okay. Do not fall for putting money down. That is not a requirement. Okay. Let them know when you set the frame, everything including your finance charge has to be covered inside of your pre-approval amount. Okay. Everything including your finance charge has to be covered in your approval amount from the top to the bottom. Everything. You literally go there with that paperwork, come out with the keys. Okay. And some people might tell you it's impossible. It is very possible. I'm speaking from experience. Very possible. And people do this all day long. Okay. Some guys are into my mentorship or just pay for consulting or one-on-one, right? It is very, very possible. You do not need that. It's just in your language and how you set the frame and how you come in and how you tell them exactly what you want, what you're looking for, what that price range is. I'm talking title tags, everything. Do not put any money down for anything extra. Okay. Title and tags, sometimes you might need to. But typically that's not much. If you're smart, you can do all of this without putting any money down, including your title, tags, blah 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 blah, all included in there. I actually know someone that they ran like they got like a 80K on their pre-approval, and here's what happened. Their car was actually like 35K or 40K that they wanted, and they gave them back the difference. Like let's, for simple math, let's say they got 80K and the car, including title, tags, all that stuff, was 40K. The dealership cut them back a 40K check. Now they can send that back into the bank or really like keep that money. Okay, like it's crazy. So the point of that is you do not need to put any money down, point blank period. You do not need to put any money down, including their finance charges that they're going to say handling paperwork or whatever. All of that can be included in your total amount that you got pre-approved for during your financing. Okay, so that's the sauce. Hope you guys found value in this video. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with someone that you like. All right, I'm really vested in growing this channel, adding value, growing this community so we all get to be financially literate. Catch you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching. Let's get it. Let me know what part you really liked towards the end too, by the way. What part really stood out for you? Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.